It's a wild world that we live in, a completely different world than even when I grew up. I mean, cell phones and technology have just astronomically changed our world, our reality. Is that concerning to you?
No, I think cell phones are cool. I think cell phone, because if I want to talk to you, I can call you instantly.
Yeah, I think that
it used to be, if I wanted to talk to you, it would be a process.
See, and I genuinely think that's changed our culture.
In a bad way?
Yeah, because we're now a culture of instant gratification.
Well, but I don't think that is.
Well, yeah, because if you don't get a hold of me, do you get aggravated? That's not that hard a conversation. That's not a tough question.
No, I'm being honest with you. So it takes a second because I'm running through the process in my mind.
So you call me, let's say 3 times on my cell phone,
and I usually leave you a message.
Yeah.
And no, you usually.
So within an hour, I really
don't, Blake. I'm being honest with you. I don't. You usually get back with me within the half hour.
But if I didn't, and you had something to tell me, would you get aggravated? I
mean, yeah, absolutely.
The general public would.
Anybody would.
So my point is that instant gratification.
But it wasn't any different when I called the house, because when you back in my day, you would call the house.
Yeah.
And there was no answering machines.
Sure.
So what would you do? You'd have to call back.
But you didn't get aggravated, is my point.
Oh yeah, you did.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Just same way. What was different?
That's what I'm saying. What the ultimate point I'm making is people need instant gratification. Today's society. Me as a young man, okay, if you don't answer my text,
I think can I talk or no?
How many times
is this about you?
How many times have you said the president isn't busy enough to call me back? Because everybody always says, "Oh, I was busy." No, you weren't. You didn't want to call me back.
Exactly.
Okay. So my point is, in today's society, people are a lot more likely to get aggravated.
And I'm not going to argue with you about it.
You kind of are.
I'm not going to.
You have been.
All I'm saying is it was the same back in the day before they had all the technology. It was the same. There's some different things like food. Okay.
Do you think the Amish get upset about somebody not answering the phone?
I know they do. Ask me another question. That it has some substance.
How long is that collar? It's popped.
You like to talk about how I dress or how Mom dresses me.
Those are nice shoes, though. What's the biggest compliment anybody's ever given you?
That's heavy.
I know.
Wow, I don't even know if I can think of an answer. I'd have to think about that.
What's the toughest news you ever had?
My mom died.
That's the toughest?
Yeah.
You remember where you were?
Like it was yesterday.
Really?
Yep.
That's heavy, yeah.
Yeah. I seen my dad cry 3 times.
It's amazing how that works.
And
it's something that's something that sticks with everybody. Is seeing their dad cry.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. You got me to cry?
No. I've seen it once, twice. Why do you think people remember more their dad crying than their mom?
Oh, because I think men are less, not today's man, but yesterday's man was less emotional. You know, in order to be an alpha, you had to hide your feelings. You know,
is vulnerability a sign of weakness?
I personally don't think so.
Yeah.
I personally think.
What would your dad say?
Grow up.
Because vulnerability is different than weakness. We can agree about that, right?
He might even hit me
for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
As a sign of, because it was a sign of weakness.
Yeah, he might even hit me.
But those two things are definitely different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vulnerability and weakness.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think that that you have to hide your vulnerability in front of some people?
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
Because they'll use it against you. That's why this podcast is hard for me, and there's some things I won't talk about yet, is because I don't want to be in a position where I'm vulnerable to somebody.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Who is?
I am, because I got a point here. Ready? Why does it matter? Why does it matter to be vulnerable to somebody that would, quote unquote, use it against you? What power does that give them? I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. If someone's going to judge...
I had a feeling you were going to.
If somebody's going to judge me for my vulnerability, okay?
It's not...
or cast aspersions on that vulnerability, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In my eyes, the way I view them is somebody that I can't Trust. So right there, I put them in a category that I don't care about their opinion anyways. So why would their dispersions about my vulnerability matter to me?
You're right.
No, I'm part of this is a question.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Oh. Why?
Because it's not something I want to discuss in front of.
Well, help me through it then, because in my
shut this off and I'll tell you.
Okay, now we're back. That explains some things. Thank you for that.
I love you.
I love you too. It's amazing how our upbringings have made us into who we are today, and how this relationship is vitally important.
You and me?
Son and his dad. The relationship that you and I have is vitally important, and our society is missing out on that terribly. Because how many people can go to their dad
exactly.
and ask a question about vulnerability and weakness,
personal,
and not care,
interpersonal,
and let their guard down and genuinely know that their dad
and son, what did I say was the most important thing for a man and woman's relationship? Communication.
Yeah.
And so if we're doing this as a father and son, can you imagine the value with a man and a woman?
Yeah.
Okay, now take that value as a man and a woman in your marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say, God forbid, one of you, your eye wandered, and you were so close to that person, you could tell them, hey, today I seen a woman or I seen a man, and I was physically, spiritually, mentally, I was attracted.
Yeah.
If you had such an unbelievable relationship that you could talk and the other person would accept you
without judgment.
Yeah. Now that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's why Mom and I have 40 years.
Sure.
Okay. Now let's talk about you and Billy and Brandon. Okay, for a second. All right. Why are you living in this house? This is my house. I paid for this house. You didn't pay for this house. Why? Because we have such a relationship on such a deep level that we can communicate. If we didn't have that tomorrow morning, where would I be? Where would you be? Lost. That person in my life that I have that ability to go that deep with, that knows my heart, my feelings, my interpersonal, let them see your real soul is gone. You can't live with that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can if it's of God.
It's just so much more difficult. And at the end of the day, there's no gold star.
If it's of God, you can do it. God will give you enough energy and being. He will not give you more than you can handle. He will help you through it. But if it's not of God, then what happens is two things. One is you either kill yourself or you turn to an alternative.
Yeah.
And what is the alternative? Fentanyl, opioids, drugs, alcohol,
yeah, sure,
sex. You turn.
And my point with that too, Dad, is there's no gold star in doing it by yourself. I don't understand why people they think that this independence, and if I seek out myself and if I find myself,
that's bullcrap.
But my point is there's no gold star in doing it on your own.
No,
nobody. You don't make more money.
No,
you don't get more riches.
No,
more relationships don't come your way.
Amen.
You don't. There's no point. Like everybody judges this situation.
Find that person. And
I found happiness because at the end of the day, you know what I come home to? 20 people that will love me up.
20?
In 20 some people.
30
some people.
And 5 dogs.
That will love me up no matter what kind of day that I have. Yeah. They don't care.
Amen.
They don't care. And trust me, at the end, I hear some terrible things. Just some.
I don't.
God forbid. Just some.
I know how much I hear. I can't imagine what you hear.
There's no gold star in me doing that on my own.
Yeah, no.
And a majority of physicians do. I don't know how they do it.
They don't.
I genuinely don't know how they
don't. They don't care.
That's what burnout is.
Yep.
I genuinely, they talk about burnout.
How many family physicians, be honest, that do you know that gets as interpersonal with their patients as you do? I'll tell you how many I've experienced in my life.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
I've only known one doctor in all the doctors I've known in my whole life, besides you, that wanted to be interpersonal, and
I think they were called. I think that's the difference. I don't think as many physicians. I don't think there's many people.
If you're a pastor,
yeah,
because it's a job, are you kidding me? You don't go to be a pastor because it's a. I always say a teacher, a pastor, and a what's the other one I say? A teacher,
healthcare worker, or doctor.
No, just a minute. A teacher, a pastor,
police officer,
and a police officer are callings.
Yeah.
Are callings. They are not jobs. If you're a police officer, if you're a teacher, and you're doing it because of job, get out.
You're not gonna be happy.
No, get out because it's not for you.
Yeah. I think there's a misconception that other physicians know how each other practice. We don't.
No.
I have no idea. A doctor will say, this is the person that I'm going to refer you to.
The only thing I'm nervous about, I'm changing the subject.
Why?
With you, is that
how good I dress?
Be honest for a minute.
Right.
Is how much you work at home. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's been on my heart a little bit.
Because, Blake, you're putting in too many hours. You care too much. I know you do
a calling
a lot.
like you're talking about. It's a calling.
Yeah. Yeah, but the research you do for everybody, is very impressive. Don't get me wrong. And I always tease you, son, but I can't say how many lives you've saved. But you're honestly, your biggest thing that you can do for your patients is their spirit.
Yeah, pray for them. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
And your family needs to come before your patients.
It's a balance, and I think that I could argue that you had to figure that out earlier in your career as well.
And I'm trying to pass
because it is incredibly.
And it's a thankless job.
I don't want to say it's addicting.
Yeah.
Because that sounds pretty harsh, but it is addicting. I enjoy work.
You enjoy people.
Yeah.
It's all. I mean,
listen. How many people can say that they are living their dream? Most of the kids, they say, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a cowboy, I want to be a princess, or whatever.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
How many? What was my
I'm
three?
living my dream, man.
Yeah. I'm living my third one.
Your third. That's what.
My third choice.
It's in the top. It's on one hand, right? Top 5.
Yeah. I mean, of all the things that I physically and spiritually and mentally could have done, it would be 1/10 of 1/10 of 1/10 of 1%. I'm doing it.
Have your priorities significantly changed since you were 20?
Oh, yeah. I was all about making money.
30?
Oh, yeah. I was still
40?
It started changing when I was about 50.
50, your priorities changed.
Yeah, it started.
So between 20 and 50, they were pretty much the same?
Yeah, they were moving to where I am, yeah. Now I'm in a good place. I guess I'm harder on myself than I've ever been.
I've noticed that.
But I know.
Is that why you're struggling to figure out what the biggest compliment somebody's paid you was?
Yeah, I didn't think about it anymore.
Why?
I don't know. It's just not important.
It is to me.
The biggest compliment.
I have an idea.
Yeah, it would probably be you kids telling me you love me. That's probably the biggest compliment I've ever had. Being loved by my kids says it all. It says, like, because I was hard on you guys growing up. There's just nothing. There's just no way to get around it.
I think that's
there's a line in the sand.
Yeah.
And if you crossed it, you got your butt beat. If you didn't cross it, I praised you. And so you were a jerk. So
is that being hard on a kid though? Or is that keeping a kid accountable?
They say it's harder on the parent than it is the kid.
Yeah.
That is. Is it true? I'm asking.
So
you have 4 kids.
So I'm making a point here.
Okay.
Is that being hard on a kid? Okay.
Yeah.
Or is how you were brought up being hard on a kid?
What?
How were you brought up?
Are you okay?
No, this is a good point. That's being hard on a kid.
What is?
You disciplining me when I lit matches on the roof.
Okay.
Was what I needed. That's keeping me accountable and being a good kid.
Okay.
To be a good kid.
All right.
The way you grew up.
Yeah.
That's being hard on a child. Giving some kid up for adoption is being hard on a kid. The way you brought me up wasn't being, when I was bad, you should chastise me.
Yeah.
And God does it to me today. You do it to me today. When I mess up, what do? You sit me down and say, what were you thinking?
We still go to the woodshed.
What were you? I mean, you don't physically hit me, right? Because, I mean, Brandon does. Brandon beats me up. He did it at lunch today.
Yeah, that was
and I
so
was
funny.
defending you.
I'm yelling. Kiss him on the mouth. That was so funny.
I don't want to be
Like you threw coffee on him.
He deserved it. And you're telling him to kiss me on the lips. His lips or kiss me on the mouth. His lips were wet.
He has a beard.
Jeez. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm not going to kiss my brother.
Would you change any of that?
No.
And Billy.
Come up behind me.
Gotcha.
He literally said, okay, I'll punch you in the thigh or you can have a kiss. And I took the punch in the thigh and then Billy kissed me.
I love you guys so much.
I love you too, Dan. Thank you. You've raised a great family. You really have. We got something special.